With the project winding down, a little calmer week from an administrative standpoint. So things are still progressing out there on 61. Spoke with a few people. It sounded like River City Days went off really well. We're appreciative of that. A lot of people in town, so I'm sure the congestion was a little bit more noticeable with the two lanes and the traffic configuration there with the signals on Main Street. But I hope people got where they were going and still enjoyed it. But we appreciate the patience. From a construction standpoint, the contractor actually worked, I believe, into Saturday even, and we got Potter Street poured, and that was a big accomplishment there late last week. So Potter Street, from a concrete pavement standpoint, is all complete, at least the main line, and we're just waiting on Kier right now. That got finished poured Thursday and Friday, and so we're hopeful Thursday it'll have sufficient strength that we're able to open the outside lanes. Is what the configuration we're planning to have. Traffic would actually be moved to its appropriate side of the road, which is a big deal. And it'd be still a single lane in each direction, but in the outside lanes. And then what that'll allow us to do with the inside lanes closed then is complete that center pour of the dual left turn lanes. And the contractor's hopeful. Thursday doesn't look really, really good weather-wise right now, but hopefully with the weather passing either Thursday or Friday, we'd pour that center lane of this week. And the contractor's expecting to be able to pour the majority of that in one day. So the hope would be end of the day Friday, that center is all filled in. And then what that will require then is essentially about a week's time where we're waiting for Kier on that center. And with the inside lane still closed. I think the contractor will work as best as he's able from the parking lane, still get some street lights up and stuff like that. But the center lane, waiting for that to clear out, we'll kind of control what can be worked on. The median and Potter, that would be something else that we'll get from the inside lanes. So it's going to be mainly all work in the inside here for late this week and early into the next. And then once the inside's cured out, which I'm hopeful is mid to late next week. Then we'll do one more traffic configuration where we close the outside lanes. We'll move everybody back inside, and that'll allow us to finish the remaining street lights, whatever isn't done yet on both sides of the road, whatever little bit of concrete work's remaining, and that should hopefully complete the job from an actual infrastructure standpoint. Somewhere in there, striping starts to take shape. That's going to be dependent on what makes most sense with how the traffic's configured, but that'll be a necessary thing before the road can be reopened. Likewise, the signing will start to take shape, and again, that'll just fit in as it makes sense. The parking lane does give a guy some option there, like especially with signings where we can work from the parking lane. And then so we're hopeful here next week. And into the week following is what we're expecting. We're going to need to get everything done, but then we'd be able to reopen the roadway, and everything would be complete from that standpoint. So the only thing remaining here at the end of the 2-week outlook, I'll call it would be the trees. And that's what we're hopeful for. And as we've communicated previously, we're targeting mid-September sometime for those. And with no real exact date, just going to watch the weather, and just much more preferable to plant the trees with a little cooler weather. So we've targeted September as that time frame. So otherwise, most of the sidewalks all in. Really, the gap is just the center and Potter Street. And so we'll get get that complete here over the next 2 weeks. And then little things like I keep mentioning, you'll see some of the signals are half painted. That'll start to take shape. Once we're in these lane configurations that make those a little more readily accessible, and all the little things, the little bit of cracked sidewalk or a little pocket here or there, the sod replacement on bush, and all that stuff will start to take shape then, once this main focus of the road is passed. So, and that'll carry into the fall. I'm fully expecting that. It just takes time to complete and isn't as pressing as some of the other things, so we give them a little leniency on schedule, but it'll all get done. It'll all get done this season, It's just a matter of what exactly that looks like. So, so with that, I think that's mainly an update. I can give a real quick just word in the levy. I believe they're working on Broad Street this week. So Broad Street is closed, at least access to Levy Road down there by the tracks. So a detour is in place, and I couldn't tell you the duration of that. I'd imagine with the concrete work there, you're looking at getting the work done and then, the cure time again. And then I don't know if there's a little bit paving there too, but that's just my observation. So that's not an official update by any means, but I know that Broad Street's closed this week. So, so with that, I don't know if you have any questions. If there aren't any, we'll do one more weekly update at least next week for sure, and then we'll just see. I would imagine we're looking at Travel Track in 2 more weeks of this. So,
any thoughts on the exact date of opening the road?
As far as an exact date, I'd really hate to commit to anything right now. I can pretty definitively tell you it's not gonna be next week, and it's likely at the earliest it'd be late the week following. So I can give you probably a likely week of, but I don't know if I quite want to commit to a date. We're likely looking at the week of the 22nd, and just mapping things out here with pouring the center late this week, saying a worst case we don't get cure until, essentially maybe potentially Friday the 19th, knowing that would allow us to at least get back to the outside. There's a potential here that it's going to be very similar to how it was last summer, where you have the striping done, and when you look at the road is fully complete, but the requirement to still do work on the outside is going to dictate what is exactly open or not. So the road's going to look completely paved here, hopefully by this weekend. Minus likely the median and Potter. That won't all be done yet. But from a standpoint of the center lane, that'll be complete here by the end of the week, hopefully. Potter median early next week. It's just going to be a matter of how the striping takes shape. So there is some desirability not to do that too soon with the other work requirements, but it's also necessary to open the road. So I think the road's going to be able to be open the week of the 22nd. It's just a matter of how much work is remaining that dictates a full reopening. So, but we're pushing hard to get there. So I'd say about 2 more weeks. Thank you, Marcy.
Yeah, we just plan to do some announcements that it's fully open. So
Sure. Yep, and that's fair, and we'll make sure that we publicize that targeted date, just for those that are tracking that, and it's kind of a little hoorah. So we'll make sure we identify that, but it won't be next week certainly. So, but with that. Seeing no other questions or comments, I guess we'll just keep tuned in for next week then. So I appreciate you, Shelman, those that did, and for those watching. So thank you.